leaving the ranks of the poor may mean leaving the ranks of the poor. That makes sense? Okay, will in a moment. A while ago, I was driving past a particularly poor area. It was one of these places where on the side of the road you see these dogs with this sort of ribs sticking out, and I mean it's all dust and poverty and hardship. And you know, I look at that sort of thing and it saddens me that human beings still have to live under conditions like that. You know, you think about it, as a species, we're at the level where each of us, I mean, how many people around the room are holding personal computers in their own hands, in the form of a phone or an iPad or whatever the case might be? We have that kind of technology. We send satellites out into space. We are able to take a photograph of Earth from millions of miles away and then send it back through the void and look at that picture. We have astonishing levels of achievement, and yet we still have families who don't have enough to eat every day. That's awful. Now, I happened to be on my way to a conference where I was speaking about an entrepreneurial idea, how to make money. And I thought to myself, just a mental exercise. If I was stripped of all of the stuff that I use every day, the suit, the car, the equipment, the bits and pieces, the toys, if I was stripped of all of that and just left with my knowledge, my wits, and my education, and put into this scenario, living in abject poverty, could I get back out? Could I get back out and back to my own life? What do you think? And could you? Yeah? Okay. Most of the people around this room are kind of saying yes. Now that's an interesting thought. Let's take that thought one step further. If I had to take a high net worth individual, someone who does drive the Ferrari, the Lamborghini, someone with their own private helicopter, with their own business, whatever the case might be, and I transplanted them into your life, do you think they would be able to get back out? If we say yes to that, then what we're saying is the gap between where you are and where that person is up here. Isn't that a horrifying thought? But at the same time, it represents hope, because it means it can be done. It means that the thought is out there, the ideas are out there, the knowledge, the education is available. It can be done. Leaving the ranks of the poor, however, may mean leaving the ranks of the poor. My thought process went like this. I thought maybe I'd start up a small company, something that doesn't require a lot of startup capital, maybe a little store, maybe I'd get other people to work for me. And then I kind of stopped and I thought to myself, that's not what I do. The first thing I do is to physically leave and go somewhere else. Why? Because often in situations like that, the thinking is depressed. And it's not to point fingers or to point blame. I mean, I've been in a family that has gone through extreme poverty. But when you've had generations of poverty, it's almost impossible to believe it's possible. The thinking becomes depressed. There's a speaker in the States these days who has an interesting concept, and I believe it. He says, you are likely to be about as wealthy and about as successful as the average of the 5 people closest to you. Think about that for a second. Who are your closest 5? It's likely to be probably something like mom, dad, best friend, boss, teacher, something down those lines. Chances are it's those people. How wealthy are they? I'm sorry to ask the question, but apparently those stats bear out, because what happens is we get involved in an ecosystem of thinking. And we all affect one another with our level of aspiration, our level of ideas, our thinking about work and wealth, and we all average each other out. There's something you can do about this one. You don't have to dump your mom. Okay? You don't have to dump the best friend, anything down those lines. What it is saying is we do need to associate with highly successful individuals. We need to expose ourselves to that kind of thinking. Unless we do, we are not going to lift ourselves up. But the thinking is out there. And quite often, people are quite willing to be mentors, friends, to share answers, share ideas. Sometimes they're not. It's always worth asking, worth the approach. You are likely to be about as wealthy or about as successful as the average of the 5 people closest to you.